Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today I am going to be reading from my romance novel, Tearing Down the Wall. This is published by Cloud Orchid Publishing. It is a college romance novel set in the same universe as Freya's Baby and Freya's Baby Shattered. It is the same characters, just set in a different situation. So, let's get started. Chapter 1. Freya. I stared out the window as the old sedan rolled up to the south dormitories. The quad was full of cars, boxes, and people. I slumped down in my seat, irritated by the giddy fidgeting of my older sister as she rolled into the closest available slot. Yvonne stepped out of the car, her bright face upturned to the sun as she stretched. "Isn't this exciting, Yaya? Your first year of college!" I rolled my eyes as I slunk out of the car and popped the trunk. My skin crawled at the prospect of some overexcited RA welcome party. The orientation yesterday had been annoying enough. Riveting. Yvonne started helping pull boxes and items out of the back seat. She swooned. "Just think, you'll be here on your own, making new friends and having new experiences. I'm so happy for you, Freya." Yeah. I grabbed one of the boxes, my arms struggling with the awkward bulk. Yvonne's face fell, and she bit her lip. "I'm sorry they couldn't be here for you today." I flinched at Yvonne's soft comment and heaved the box up to my chest. "I told you, I didn't want Mom and Dad here anyway." Yvonne picked up a small lamp, followed after me. "I'm sorry, Just drop it, okay?" I snapped. I followed the lobby sign toward my new dorm in Hall E. It led to a plain wooden door that read E122. As I set the box down, I could feel the weight of my annoyance drop, excitement taking over. This must be it! I fished the key from my pocket and unlocked the door. Inside, the dorm was small, with a window looking out over the lawn. It had a single bed, a small dresser, a tiny closet, and a desk. It was cramped, but at least I didn't have a roommate. Dad had complained at the cost at first, but I set the record straight about my acute inability to play nice with others. Yvonne set the lamp on the desk and plugged it into the wall. "This reminds me of when I moved into my first dorm," Yvonne swooned. "Oh, Yaya, cherish this moment. You'll remember it forever." I sighed, the irritation creeping back up as I set the box down. "Oh, I'm sure I will." I rolled my eyes. I didn't wait for Yvonne to follow. I was too busy trying to ignore the other families who were acting just as stupid and bouncy as my sister while carrying boxes and setting up cheap dorm furniture. When I turned the corner out to the building entrance, I crashed into someone. "Ow, watch where you're going, idiot!" I growled, but my heart slammed into my throat when I looked up at the offending jerk. "Wow, Freya! I didn't know you were going to school here." The cheery voice sent goosebumps racing down my skin. He had grown since I last saw him, sophomore year of high school. Alex was now over 6 foot tall, and his summer volunteer work in Puerto Rico had lined his body with hard muscle under his campus hoodie. I bit my lip as I looked up at him. "Oh, yeah, hi. Didn't expect to see you here, Blondie." My tongue felt thick as my brain buzzed. I didn't think I would ever see him again after my stupid parents had shipped me off to boarding school, and yet here he was, as if he had stepped right out of my fantasies. Oh God, what is he doing here? I'll never get any studying done, and yet, I don't care. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from swooning. I could already feel my knees starting to buckle. Alex smiled, further melting my body into a smoldering puddle. He jerked his thumb at the doors behind us. "Well, I have a lot of unpacking to do, but it was nice seeing you again. We should hang out sometime." He waved as he hurried back to his car where several boxes were scattered around. I waved back as his body trotted off in slow motion. The sound of Yvonne's cheery voice snapped me back to attention. I took a deep breath and gathered up more boxes, putting Alex out of my mind, concentrating on getting unpacked as fast as possible so Yvonne would leave. The day trickled by as we hefted boxes back and forth. I was building a small bookshelf when Yvonne came into the dorm room, hefting a big box labeled clothes. She set the box down on the floor with an oof. Watch it, sis, I razzed. You might break something. Yvonne giggled, then tore off the tape and began rifling through the box. Oh my goodness! She had pulled out a wool skirt meant for fall. You wear designer clothing now? I fiddled with the screwdriver, avoiding eye contact with her beaming face. What's it to ya? Yvonne folded the skirt and rummaged through the other fabric treasures. Wow, Freya, your taste has really changed. I bet these clothes look beautiful on you, she smiled. I'm glad. You're so pretty, Freya. I'm glad you don't hide it anymore. Yeah, well, it's not like that frou-frou school brainwashed me or anything. I'm still me. My face felt hot as I tried to deflect her words. Yvonne always made me feel awkward with her endless cheer. Oh, of course you are, Yvonne gushed. This is so nice, Yaya. Thank you for letting me be here today. Yeah, I shrugged. I set the screwdriver down on the desk, scanning the little plywood bookshelf. I turned to Yvonne. Do you mind if I set up the books? I can get the rest of the boxes after if you're getting tired. Yvonne waved her hand. Oh, I'm fine. Some of them are pretty light, actually. She opened the door. Be back in a jiffy. It had felt almost natural to be nice to Yvonne for once. I could tell she was trying hard not to be so dramatic, and I appreciated the gesture. I began sorting the books onto their proper shelves. Maybe it wasn't really Yvonne that got on my nerves. Maybe it was something else. A knock sounded at the door, startling me half to death. I tripped over boxes to open it, and Yvonne came in, hefting another box. Here we are. Only 2 left. She set the box down and went back to the car. Alex. Seeing Freya in the parking lot had sent me for a loop. I almost didn't believe she was real. Her usual scowl had dropped, revealing the rare, sweet smile she usually tried to hide from people. I had been nervous running into her like that, and immediately kicked myself for splitting before asking for her number. I waved goodbye to my parents, the taillights of the Oldsmobile growing dimmer as they drove back to the old brownstone. When I turned to head to my dorm, I saw Freya's older sister trotting up to me. Oh my goodness! Yvonne rushed over, her face ablaze with joy. It's so wonderful to see you again! I chuckled. She was probably driving Freya crazy all day with her overenthusiasm. Hi, Yvonne. You helping Freya move in? She nodded. Mm-hmm. This is so great. I'm glad Freya has some friends here. Her smile grew smaller. I was so worried Freya would just live in her dorm. I want her to have a real college experience, make friends, go out, and party. I wonder if Yvonne and Freya have gotten closer lately. Yeah, Gordon and Hannah are here too. Yvonne squeaked. This is fantastic! Her eyes widened, and she sighed. Oh, Alex, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but it would mean so much to me if you checked on her once in a while. I couldn't resist the bittersweet look on Yvonne's face. Memories of Freya locking herself away in the school library bubbled up. Of course. I'll make sure Freya doesn't turn into a ghost on campus. Oh, thank you! Yvonne startled me with a big hug, but then she pulled away. And remember, I'm just a call away. I nodded. The old sadness pitted my stomach. Yvonne had always sent updates with her new phone numbers and addresses. Once, she had even spilled about how scared she was for Freya. We had been sitting on the Petrie's stoop. Freya hadn't come to class in a few days, and I had gotten word and brought her homework over as an excuse to talk. Yvonne had insisted we sit outside, and I could hear screaming through the door. Oh, Alex! Yvonne was a mess. Her hair was frazzled, and her makeup was smeared all over her face. It's so terrible, I can't even! I sat down next to her and did my best to comfort her. Those sounds tore through my chest, making me want to rush into the house. What's happening in there? Yvonne took a lace hanky from her shirt pocket and blew her nose. I've never seen Daddy so angry! Freya had talked about her parents always acted nicer when Yvonne was around. Whatever happened must have been serious if John was raging in front of Yvonne. I wish I knew what she was thinking, Yvonne whispered. Freya says she's leaving. My heart sank. What? Yvonne shook her head. Oh, it's not like that. She said she just doesn't want to live here anymore, so she skipped school to look for an apartment. When Daddy told her that he wasn't paying for it, Freya said she had gotten a job. Well, you'll still get to see her, right? I felt strangely relieved that Freya wasn't leaving for good. I don't know. Yvonne stared at her knees. She doesn't talk to me much, and she never wants my help. Her watery eyes rolled up to me, like lead weights tugging on my heart. But she talks to you. My face flushed. the heat racing into my ears. Well, I mean, not a lot anyway. Yvonne smiled. Don't be such a silly. You know what I'm talking about. She pulled out her phone. I know Freya won't call me, but I know you will if something ever happens. Yvonne seemed like she was about to cry, but she took a deep breath and kept going. I already gave my information to Freya's little friend. Can I count on you too? I shook my head, the memory fading away. Yvonne always meant well, but her sugary sweet attitude and overly helpful nature often pushed Freya away. I put my hand on her shoulder and smiled. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Yvonne nodded. Thank you, Alex. You're such a sweet boy. She hugged me again, then went back to the car. Do you want any help? I watched Yvonne hoist a box from the trunk. No, that's okay, but thank you. She disappeared back into the building. I followed a few steps behind, heading to my own dorm room. Yvonne just wanted to spend some time with Freya alone. I could respect that. The cheery mood Yvonne had created deflated when I opened the door to my own room. It was lonely, with all the unopened boxes scattered about. I had lucked out on my own room. Gordon had a roommate, and their room seemed pretty cramped with all their stuff. We had packed Gordon's car to the brim, the overflow piled into my parents' Oldsmobile. I didn't feel much like unpacking, plus, Gordon had warned me not to bother. The Sigma Alpha Phi rush started bright and early tomorrow morning, and there was no telling what they would make us do. I flopped down on the bare mattress, a comforter carelessly tossed near the foot of the bed. When I closed my eyes, I saw Freya's face smiling up at me. I shot back up, eyes wide open. What was that? My phone went off, and I snatched it up. A text from Gordon lit up the screen. Where are you at? Want to grab a cup? Chapter 2. Freya. My dorm was mostly constructed, and I had finally convinced Yvonne to leave. Hannah had texted me to meet at the local cafe and catch up on things. I had already shed my sweaty clothes and changed into a sleek tank top and jeans. Hannah had already arrived at the cafe and ordered drinks. She waved me over to the cozy corner table. Hey, Nan! It's been way too long! I drew Hannah into a loose hug, then took a sip of my latte. Good stuff. Oh, Freya, it's great to see you. I can't believe how long you've been away for. It was true. We hadn't seen each other for 2 years, save for the holidays, but those were always too short. While Hannah hadn't grown much taller, she had grown more of a figure. She was quite busty now, and had thinly shaped legs. Several of the boys at the cafe were staring at us over their coffee cups. I shot them heated glares, and went back to my coffee. You make it sound like I'm a POW that just got released. I laughed. I guess I kinda am. Anyway, you'll never guess who I ran into today. Just as Hannah was about to guess, the bell over the cafe door clinked. It was Gordon and Alex, striding toward the cashier, deep in conversation. My heart hammered in my throat as they placed their order, unaware of our presence. I could feel my body heat up as Alex leaned against the counter. His nonchalance was intoxicating. I think I guessed, Hannah giggled, making me snap to my senses. I nodded and took a deep breath, trying to ward off the hot blush in my cheeks. I peeked over the rim of my coffee cup to watch Alex. He turned to pick up his drink from the barista, and his face lit up as he saw us. Excitement spiked my chest as he made eye contact with me. Gordon elbowed Alex, and they both nodded in wordless agreement. Hey, Hannah, isn't this a cozy surprise? Gordon purred as he sipped his coffee. Mind if we have a seat? I leaned back in my chair, desperately trying to appear as nonchalant as Alex. It's a free country. Sit wherever you like. Gordon took the chair next to Hannah, and the couple exchanged a peck. I was about to pester Hannah when Alex took the chair next to me. I swallowed the squeal that threatened to escape my throat. It's great to see you again, Alex smiled. How was boarding school? I sighed, glad to be on a safe subject. It was frilly and boring. Alex cocked his head. How so? I mean, the advanced literature classes were great and all, but the proper lady classes were a joke. I rolled my eyes and made air quotes. The disdain cooled my idiotic excitement. He laughed. What did you do with those? I didn't know schools even had those anymore. I waved my hand, the dull memories flooding back. Ugh, it made me wear a dress and learn the right way to get out of a car without showing everyone the goods, and how to use a spoon and whatever. But don't get any ideas about me being a lady, buddy. I sipped my latte and then banged it back onto the table. I'm not all fluffy like Yvonne. No, I guess not. You're your own person. I doubt any finishing school could change that. His smile made my heart flutter. I savored the compliment, biting the inside of my cheek to stop myself from grinning. So, what classes are you guys taking? I'm very excited about my molecular theory class, Hannah piped up. Gordon laughed. Yeah, I'm taking basic biology. Real exciting. He elbowed Hannah's arm. I had examined my schedule over and over again on the car ride to the dorms in an attempt to drown out Yvonne's constant chatter. Elizabethan literature. God forbid Freya take a math class, Gordon razzed. What do I need math for? I have a calculator on my phone. I glared at him. Besides, I have better things to do. Like read moldy old books, Gordon laughed. Oh, I'm surprised you have real classes, Gordo. I was half expecting you to say you're majoring in basketball. I laughed. Gordon rolled his eyes. Oh yeah, real funny. Gordon rolled his eyes. Gordon checked his phone. Look at the time. Hannah, we're going to be late for that reservation. Hannah blinked. Reservation? Gordon nodded. Yeah. Remember? Oh, right. I'll call you later. Hannah sent me a sultry wink. Don't you leave me alone here with him. The door chime sounded like a toll of doom. I could feel the blood start to pound in my ears again. It had been a long time since I had been alone with Alex. Damn it. Why does Hannah have to be such a good friend? I'm gonna make an ass of myself. So, crazy kids having all the fun. I flinched at the sound of my nervous laugh. I think I'll get another latte. Alex stood up and grabbed my cup. I was gonna get another one anyway. He looked back and smiled. My treat. I stared after him as he went up to the counter. His swagger made my hands shake. I clenched them in my lap, willing my body to calm down. What is he doing? Why is he suddenly being so nice to me? He leaned over the counter, waiting on the fresh coffee. My eyes trailed south, and I sunk my teeth into my bottom lip. Wow, he's gotten quite the ass to go with that face. I shook my head, trying to dislodge the stupid thought. What am I doing? Here you go. Alex set the steaming cup on the table and sat back down. I thought it would be nice to catch up. I held the warm cup. My throat felt strangled, the words refusing to materialize. Yeah. I dragged a finger over the foam on the cup. Alex looked down at the table. I missed you, you know? Really? Stop being stupid. Calm down. I missed you too. I set the coffee cup on the table and forced myself to look at him. His blonde hair was bleached from the summer sun, making it even brighter than its usual goldenrod glow. I felt myself drowning in his large green eyes, and then realized I was starting to lean toward him. So, how was your trip to Puerto Rico? My voice trembled as I leaned back into my seat. The roar of my heartbeat in my ears made it difficult to hear him. Oh, it was good. Something flickered across his face, almost like disappointment. I took a sip of my latte. Don't be stupid. He probably just thought it was weird you were practically in his face. Keep it together. We helped with rebuilding homes that had been destroyed in the hurricane. His face darkened, and he dropped his gaze to his coffee. Most people are still without power there. I felt kind of bad leaving. I shook my head. But you did what you could. I'm sure you really helped a lot of those people. You have your own life to live. Plus, there's always next summer break. His sunny smile returned, making me smile as well. I felt dizzy from how hot my face was getting. I leaned on my elbow to help steady myself. You're right. Besides, once I get my degree, I can help a lot more people. Alex took another sip of his coffee. One step at a time. I'm sure you have it all figured out. You've always been such a goody-goody, I razzed. Alex pretended to be offended, making me laugh harder. Oh, come on, I'm not that bad. I made a rude sound with my mouth. I bet you've never even ditched class. Well, that may be so. He stood, leaving his coffee on the table. But I say we ditch this cafe and take a walk around the quad. How about it? My legs felt as if they were made of jelly when he held out his hand to me. I took it, cringing that my palm was sweaty. He didn't seem to mind, and tightened his grip. The chime above the door tinkled as we left. Alex. I had suspected that Gordon had set up the whole affair. It was way too perfect that Freya just so happened to be sitting in the cafe with Hannah. Now that she was walking at my side around the quad, I knew I owed him a major favor later. The air was starting to get chilly as the sky got darker. Freya was shivering, and I noticed she wasn't wearing a jacket. Her outfit was nice, and I had made it a point to keep my eyes locked on her face, away from her cleavage peeking out over the lacy tank top. I stopped walking and let go of her hand. You look cold. Freya seemed startled, but rolled her big blue eyes up at me and shook her head. I'm fine. I ignored her bravado and took off my hoodie. The cold seeped into my thin shirt as I held the hoodie out to her. You don't have to. She bit her lip, making her look even cuter. Nah, it's fine. I bounced my hand. I have a long sleeve on anyway. I'm fine. She looked back up at me, her face timid and unsure. Then she took the hoodie into her hands. I smiled, encouraging her. It's okay. You don't have to be all tough around me. Freya pulled it on, then smiled and shoved her hands into the center pocket. It had mussed the top of her hair a bit. I resisted the urge to reach down and smooth her hair, and possibly steal a kiss from her pouty lips. We sat down together on a wooden bench facing the decorative pond. Gordon had always warned me not to walk too much or too fast with chicks, that usually their feet hurt from their shoes. Sure enough, I looked down and saw that she was wearing some sort of strappy shoes that looked way too fancy to be comfortable. She looked up at me. Her face seemed to glow in the dying light. Man, I am so lucky. I found her again. I leaned back and draped my arm over the back of the bench. I wanted so much to pull her close. Freya had always been jumpy, and I didn't want to scare her off this time. Gordon and I are going to try and get into a fraternity here, I chatted, leaning my head back and looking at the clouds. Freya laughed. I wouldn't be caught dead in a sorority. I chuckled. Good old Freya. I suppose not. All those girls having makeovers and pillow fights, not your thing. About as much my thing as juggling chainsaws, Freya snorted. I leaned forward again, daring to look at her. That's what I like about you. You're always exactly yourself. I grinned as her face darkened with a blush. She fidgeted her hands and darted her eyes away. She was so tempting. I found myself leaning toward her. When Freya had left high school, I had tried dating other girls, but none of them seemed to fit. They were just flings. Coming to college, I was just going to let go and have fun. But now Freya had come back, as if by magic. I looked back over at Freya, who was staring at the decorative pond. The sun was low in the sky, causing everything to be draped in a warm orange glow. It made her blonde hair look fiery, like molten gold. No one else has made me feel like this. How does she do that? Freya turned her head and locked eyes with me. I felt a zap go through my body. Damn, Freya. I looked down at my hands to stop myself from doing anything stupid. It's getting late. Why don't I walk you back? Since we're at the same building and all. Freya stood up. Sure, why not? We walked together in silence. I didn't know what to say. Everything that went through my head seemed creepy or dumb. The air was thick, and I felt as if we were walking underwater. Freya stopped at her corridor and looked up at me again. Well, if you ever want to drop by and say hi, I'm in E122. She looked back down at her shoes. Yeah, I'm up in F201. There was a weird tugging in my stomach as I looked at Freya. Her lips had become fuller, or had they always looked that soft? The more I stared, the more I wanted to kiss her. Don't be weird, you'll piss her off. I reached out and took her hand and squeezed it. I guess I'll see you later. Her hand was warm. She stared at me, as if she wanted me to say something, but then sunk her teeth into her lower lip. My body felt hot as her liquid eyes watched me. I let go of her hand, afraid if I held it a moment longer, I would lose all self-control. Well, good night. I turned and walked toward the staircase. Don't look back. Don't look back. I was at my door when I heard Freya yell at some unfortunate soul. I laughed. That was the Freya I knew. Once inside my dorm again, it seemed even lonelier than before. I sat down on the bed and sighed. Freya sure has grown up. My face grew warm as I replayed the day over and over again in my head. I looked over at my alarm clock, one of the few things I had unpacked. My mind kept zeroing in on Freya's pouty lips, her eyes, her pale chest. There was no way I was going to get a good night's sleep before rush tomorrow. Alright, y'all, thank you so much for listening to this reading. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I really enjoyed writing this particular novel. It's so cute and it's so fun. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're new, subscribe. Alright, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.